Okay, so if you took the advice I did on my previous video and got yourselves a Sparrow's reload kit and a cutaway lock, I promised that I'd show how to gut things. Screwdriver does not come in the kit. Tweezers you were able to add on to the kit for a little bit extra money. Comes with this plastic follower, but if you don't have this kit and you have a 3D printer, you could 3D print yourself some followers like this. They work great. You can buy yourself some followers. Again, this isn't a 3D printed holder, but these are metal followers. I don't use them very often. And in here you got your pinning trays and a bunch of keys, and well, these don't come with it. These are their chess pins. But in any case, the cool thing about their follower is it has this end to it that goes right into their the tail of the locks they have. So what I do is, usually I like to have the key out. That way when you undo the back, the cylinder is not just going to fall out, because right now it's held in by the pins. So if we just stick this, line this up, and there's a pin back here that you can push down. Now if you don't have this kind of follower, you can do the same thing, just push it down with like a screwdriver and then unscrew this ring. But the convenient thing about this is it will push down on that and you can spin the whole follower and take that ring off, just like that. That comes off. In here there's a pin and there's also a spring. So if when you take that disc off you're not careful and that spring and pin go shooting out, they gave you a bunch of replacements, springs and pins, just in case you lose that stuff. So anyways, now that that stuff is removed, the only thing holding the core in here are the pins. So if you take the key, now that core is free to move in and out of that cylinder. So at this point you got to be careful not to let everything fall everywhere, and that's why you have this follower. You'll notice it has this kind of gap in it. This gap, when you're following, you want to make sure that the gap is not going to be catching the pins, because they'll just fall right through. So you want the solid area. And I don't use this side because it's kind of leveled in, so the same problem will occur. So you want to catch it with that solid area. You put it and you line it up with the back of the cylinder here. And the goal here is to have all those driver pins rest on the follower. So as you push out, that's going to happen. Now the other thing you need to be careful of is the key pins are all facing up depending on where the top of your key is. Right now, the top of my key is over here. So I need to be conscious that when I push this out, I want those key pins to be facing up so that gravity doesn't make them fall to the ground. There's no springs or anything going to shoot those out, so you don't need to worry about it. The only springs are pushing the driver pins down onto your follower. So let's make sure that those pins are up, and I'm going to stick this in here and follow closely behind. And I'm pushing with the follower. I'm pushing the core out with the follower, and there we go. I have the core out with all the key pins. Now if you turn it upside down, they'll all fall out, so put them somewhere where it's not going to roll. And if I look at this, all my driver pins are held by the follower. Now the easy part is removing these. You put your finger over the different pins so that only one can fall out. Boom, it falls out. And if you didn't notice the orientation, the rounded or pointy side is going to face towards the key, so it's going to face down into there. You'll know that if you put it in upside down, you'll see that it doesn't look quite right. It's got like a pointed bit where all the other ones are flat. So we'll put that on our pinning tray, and that one that's closest to the key is pin 1. Okay, so pin 2, and then you can also just dump them straight into the tray. I a lot of times don't like dumping it straight into the tray in case I dump more than one pin out. It gets all jumbled in there, so I'll dump it into just some other area like this, you know, and then I can put them over. Pin 5. So that was 5 pins in here. There's 6 chambers, so you could put a 6th pin in here if you wanted. And then you can go ahead and remove these driver pins. This channel here actually can help you, because let's see if I can get some light on that. What happens is if you bring this down, you can either get your tweezers ready to catch them, and so when you free that, right now it's pushing up on my tweezers, and my tweezers are stopping it from springing all the way out. And I can let it up, and I can grab that driver with my tweezers. You can flip it and let the spring fall out, and then you can grab the spring too if you want. I'm not going to do all of them because then it'll take forever to put together. Or another thing you can do, and let's see if I can get this to show, is you can open up that next chamber, have just the plastic part cover the next chamber, and you can turn it until you get into that gap-like area, right? And once you get to that gap area, you can let it pop in and it'll be held in that gap area. This is really useful for reloading later. So reloading these driver pins in, right? I have that pin, I can lower it to the right level, put it over that gap, and then I can push down with this. And what's really useful is I can push with my finger from the other side and hold it in with friction part way in, and that will allow me, like if I had a chamber that had master pins or something, I can stack the next one on there like that, and that'll allow me to push both of them down into that chamber. Okay, these aren't going to fit because they're both huge, but that would allow you to reload the next chamber. Now, spring, you just load it in. It usually will fit in. Sometimes the spring will fit out top. Now you see, look, I popped that out, but it's easy to pop back in. And these driver pins, they're double-ended, but sometimes you'll have serrations or spools. So a lot of times you want to make sure the orientation that they pop out. But once I put this in, I like to hold it like this. Oh my gosh, am I even on the camera? I like to hold it like this, where the pin is down from the tweezers. That way, when I go into the chamber, I can push down, and I'm pushing half of the cylinder, half of the pin into the chamber, and then I push with the follower that when I let go of the tweezers, the follower's now got tension against that pin, and the pin's not going to pop up because of the spring. And then I can push down with the tweezers, and the follower follows. So those are those pins, the driver pins, sorry. And if you wanted, you could take you know, some of your pins from here, from the follower kit, and let's say you wanted to do a serrated driver pin, you can do that, and you want the serrations to be facing the key, and you can put that in that chamber. Okay, so the chambers I was loading, that was chamber 1. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I wanted chamber 1 to be a serrated, I could just grab my serrated. I don't want to put it this way because then the serrations would probably never take effect. You want the serrations to be pointing towards the key or the key pin. And then I just load, and now I have a serrated in pin 1. I'm not going to leave that in there because then I'll have to take it apart again later. And there. So that's how you get a serrated pin. Now, let's say you wanted to key up one of these keys that came with your reload kit. So let's take this key out, and I don't know which pin right now goes in, you know, slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, etc. So I just take my key, I put it in the lock, there we go, and I can just experiment. I mean, I can look at this, I can see the deep cuts are on 1 and 5, so I figure the longer pins are going to go onto 1 and 5. So I look for a long pin, I'll stick it in 1, I see that it's pretty flush with the top of the chamber, so that might be right. Let me try this really short one and 2. Okay, way too short. You can see it doesn't come to the top, so that's obviously in the wrong one, so I'll pop that back out, and I'll try a bit longer one. Alright, that one looks almost there. Try third. Oh, this one is too tall. So let me go back to that short one and try that in there. Now I remember number 5 was long, so I'm going to try the medium one on 4, and then the long one on 5. And boom. I can see that they're all flush with the top, so they're in the right chambers. I can pull that out if I want. I like to put my core back in with the key out, but you got to be careful. If you put this in such that these are in line with the driver pins, the first driver pin is going to fall into the first hole it finds, and then the only way you're going to get it open is to pick it. So what you want to do is you want to put this in at an angle so that none of the driver pins drop in, right? Okay, and then there, I just screwed up. Why? That first driver pin dropped in because I didn't bother to check that that was in the right orientation. So I would like to say I did that on purpose to teach you guys, but I really just screwed up. But no big deal. Just reload that driver pin. Boom. And now remember to turn that so that it's not going to let those driver pins fall. Remember to angle this and have it follow the follower back out. And now I can lock it. And I hope that my key will work. Now I gotta be careful because I didn't put the retaining screw back on the back, so the cylinder is going to be free. But boom, it's been rekeyed that easily. I'll hold on to the cylinder so that I can pull the key out without dropping the whole thing out. So that's basically how you would rekey this lock. They come with a key in here. The black one has 6 pins, so if you wanted to load that, you could load that in. If you didn't care about having a key for it, you can put the pins in any order you want, and then you'd have to pick it open. Look at that, bash indicator too. But so that's this this cutaway lock. Well, with these same tools, you can go ahead. Here's a Schlage kick cylinder, and it uses that same kind of deal where you can, you know, screw unscrew it. When you screw this thing back on, I like to back it out by like one of these notches, because right now when it's at its tightest setting, it's really hard to turn the key, and it'd be really hard to pick. So just take this, back it out by one click, and your key is a lot easier. Now if you back it out too much, the core will be able to move forward and backward, and you'll have to jiggle your key to get it to work, so not so great. So that's a Schlage kick cylinder there. And then here is, I don't know, MX, GM, something, I can't remember. But it's got the same kind of thing on the back, right? So you could change this one out if you wanted. Many of these use these 0.02 inch pins, they're called. That's the diameter of the pin, which is about 3 millimeters. So if you get some 3 millimeter brass rod, you could start making your own pins if you wanted to go down that path. So you could use these pins in a lot of other different locks if you wanted. Now, here's another kick cylinder, but this one doesn't use this kind of back piece. It uses these weird cross-looking things. Oh yeah, Phillips screws, right? So yeah, Phillips screwdriver. You just take it off and follow the same process. You'll notice that this has this like half moon shape here. So you're going to need this follower that you get from Sparrows is actually not going to work because maybe if you follow it just along that half moon like that. But if you look at like these 3D printed ones or these other ones, I think these are from Sparrows that you can get. They have these half cutouts, and that's so that you could get it on there. You're going to have to figure out the orientation so that you're catching all the driver pins with the flat end here. But that's what that half cutout is for. And then finally, I wanted to show that. How do I get this key back in here? You can have a mortise cylinder, and it's the same deal. It's got you know, Phillips head screws. Take those out, and you follow it out with one of your followers. Exactly the same deal. Pretty much every lock you got that you can, where you can remove the core, you're gonna need some sort of follower, and follow that same procedure. Unscrew these things, slap the key in, and then follow it out. So that's about all I have today. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. Thanks.